I'm going to do a little video to show you my newest pattern for my little 7-inch desk goose. My husband 3D printed this for me because I wanted one so bad, and he found a pattern, so he printed it. So these are listed in my shop on my website, bythebagbagco.com. But the pattern is also listed there, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do today, because this is a completely no-sew project. Because I know a lot of people don't know how to sew, and that's what I specialize in, is sewing patterns. And I thought, well, I made a sewing pattern for this little desk goose where I made this little reversible dress that you can put on with a little hat. But I thought, well, what about the people who don't know how to sew? And they might want to make cute little clothes for their little desk goose also. So I came up with a no-sew pattern. And this is made out of just regular old felt. You can find it at any craft store. I got this at Hobby Lobby. I will say not all quilt is created equally. These from Hobby Lobby are the 39-cent ones, and I like these better because they're a little bit thicker. They do have some that are 25 cents, I think, or 29 cents, and it's a little bit thinner, and you can see through it. Now, I did find some rolls of felt at the Dollar Tree for $1.25 for a roll that I'm not really sure how big they are. Let me go get one. Okay, I'm back. These are the ones that I found at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. They might be $1.75 now. I know their prices keep changing, but they are a little thin and you can kind of see through them. They will work though. You just need some sort of fabric that's not going to fray when you cut it. So felt is perfect for this. Now I did buy one of the 25-cent ones to show you the difference between the 25-cent and the 39-cent ones from Hobby Lobby. See how you can kind of see through it, and then the more expensive one, of course, is a little better quality. So I just got a whole bunch of different colors here to play around with, but today I thought I would make a red one because I like to decorate my house for September with apples, and for some reason this year I have had the hardest time finding apple fabric at any of the fabric stores around me. Even the quilt shops don't have apple fabric. And I know I can order it online, but I'm one of those touchy-feely people. I like to touch it and feel it. So anyway, to get started with this, you're going to need some sort of felt. You're going to need my pattern, of course. You're going to need some sort of wire. Now, I have this, this is floral wire from Hobby Lobby. It has a little roll with a little cutter. You could use any kind of wire, pipe cleaner, something like that. You will need a glue gun. I like to get the fine tip glue gun because it doesn't glob out so bad. And then the glue sticks, of course, to go with it. You can use, they do make felt glue, but I'm an instant gratification kind of person. So when I'm ready to do this, I don't want to have to wait on it to dry. So, all right, to get started, you're going to need your felt. And I'm going to take the little price sticker off of there. I like to take my pattern piece and I like to put it up against the edge of the fabric or the felt, because then that way I'm utilizing my piece of felt for more than one thing. And so you're going to put this on here and you're going to trace it and then cut it out. Now you want to save this little piece right here because that is what is going to create the hat. So like I said, I like to decorate in September with apples, and I'm having a hard time finding any apple fabric. And so I decided that I would just make a red one. And then I have some little baskets of little apples that I have in my tiered tray box, my tiered tray decor. So she'll just have a little basket of apples in front of her in a little red dress. And of course, this is going on my desk, so I need to keep it kind of small. But I do have a porch goose that is a big concrete goose. And I was going to make an apple dress for her as well to go on my porch, and I have not been able to do that yet. So I think I'm just going to make hers out of fall fabric. So as soon as I get that done, I will have a pattern for the porch goose size ones too. So I just used a regular old pen. Because I'm going to cut just inside the line so you won't see any of that. So I'm going to get this cut out and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got the red part cut out and I'm saving this little piece to make her little hat with. And then I'm going to take the white and I'm going to use the white to make her some wings. Now the wings that I have on this one are from my fabric pattern, and they are put on with elastic. But I thought in this one, we're going to make this completely no-sew. So I'm going to do this with wire. And then they're posable and you can make them hold things. So I'm going to pull these little wings out of here so I can show you what they look like. So they end up looking like this with a little elastic in the middle, but we're going to make some wire ones. So obviously I did this little set for Halloween, and I'm including some little templates for little shapes to make other little designs on. So I'm going to trace this on here. We're going to give this a cutout. Oh, the other thing you need to do is on this piece, I have spots for the slits for the wings and the line for the overlap. That's where you're going to line it up to glue it. So you'll want to mark that somehow too. So I'm just going to put a little mark right there. And then I just take mine and I just fold it at that line so that I know where to mark it at. I'm going to fold that over and mark that where that little wing line is. And then for the wings, I just fold it in half like that and make a little slit to get my scissors in. It does help if you have some really, really sharp scissors. These are my sewing scissors, but I also have these applique embroidery scissors. Now these are incredibly sharp. I got these at a quilt shop in Alaska when we were on our cruise, and they're called the Perfect Scissors, and they are pretty perfect, but they are very, 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 very sharp, but they're a little bit smaller, so it's easier to get in little tight spaces. So here we go. I'll cut that a little bit bigger so we can get the wings through there. And since this is felt, it's not going to fray or anything, so you can just cut, and it you don't have to finish the edges. Trim a little there. Since I wrote with regular pen, it's not going to come off. My suggestion would be to mark it with a heat erasable pen if you have one. If not, just trim the little pen marks off so they don't show. Except for that one, you want that one to stay there so you know where to overlap it. Okay, now I'm going to trace my wings on the white. And the shape of the wings is a little bit strange, but that's because we're going to fold them over and we're going to encase the wire in between them. And then you're just going to mark your little glue line for your wire, which is pretty much in the middle of that bottom arch. Okay, now if you're a perfectionist like me, you're going to fold this in half, make sure everything lines up. And if they don't line up perfectly, you're going to go around and you're going to trim them, because that's kind of perfectionist that I am. So like I have a little overhang right here, so I'm just going to make sure that that matches up like that. Okay, now we can continue working on the wings. I give you measurements for the wire in the pattern. But you're going to cut your little piece of wire. Okay, once you have your wire cut, you're going to kind of smooth it out. And this floral wire works good because it's kind of flat. It's like a green plasticky flat piece, but it's got a piece of wire in it, so that works for gluing it down. But you can use any kind of wire that you can find. So I'm just going to run a line of glue on that line. And then you can fold the end over if you want to make it where it's not quite so pokey at the end, and that way maybe it won't poke through your felt. I'm just going to glue that down. And then I'm going to fold the other end over. This would be a great project for kids to do too. Another little line of glue. And then you have to burn your fingers at least once. Okay, once you have your wire glued down, it should look something like that. You're going to fold this in half, and then you're just going to run glue right along the edge and stick this together. All right, I have my wings. And you can go back and you can trim, like I said, perfectionist. So if it's bothering you that they're not lined up completely straight, you can trim a little bit off, make it look perfect. All right, then you have your wings, and you can use these to make them stay all different ways because they have wire in them now. All right, moving on to our dress. So you're going to take this and you're going to overlap this flat edge up to that line that you drew. And it does not line up straight. It lines up a little bit slanted. What that's going to do is that's going to kick the bottom out a little bit to fit over your goose's little body right here. So I'm going to put a line of glue right on that line that I drew so I can cover the ink up. And then I'm just going to fold this over and line that up. Just a hair over that line. Make sure it sticks. So you've got something that looks like this. Now you can take this and you can embellish the back or the front. I know I have some yellow felt that I'm planning to do a make like a little rain jacket out of, and so I think what I'm gonna do on the yellow one is put little yellow buttons down the front of it, kind of like I did my fabric one. So it'll look like a raincoat. You could add a little collar to this. You could add some lace trim, all the different things. So you can decorate this however you want. But then you're going to take your wings, and that's what these little slits are for. So from the inside, you're going to poke your little wings out of those little lines. And the wings are going to sit on the inside of her dress, but they're going to go over her back. So you just fit it over her little head. They're going to lay on the back. And you can kind of pull them around and play around with them a little bit to get them to sit just how you want. And if you need to adjust it up or down any, you can cut the little slits a little further up or a little further down, depending on which goose you have. You might have to adjust them just a little bit to get it to lay nice and flat on there. So that's how she looks. Okay, now we're going to make a little hat. So you are going to need some elastic. I have some 1/8 inch elastic here, so it's super, super tiny. And I'm just going to cut off the little piece. And then I'm just going to glue the ends of the elastic to the little points on this half circle. So I'm just going to put just a little tiny dot of glue. And I'm going to press one of the ends into it. Make sure it's stuck good. And then I'm going to loop it around to where it loops like that. So don't do it like that, where you're going to stick it like that. You're going to loop it under. Does that make sense? So the same side of your elastic is touching on both edges. I'm just going to take this elastic and I'm going to flip it over and glue it down. And you're just going to make sure it gets stuck. And then you're going to pull off any glue strings. And then you end up with a little visor or bonnet to slide right on. You can adjust the size of that elastic depending on, like I said, which goose you get. So I made these to fit the one that we 3D print, of course. And so you can also decorate the little bonnet. You could put some lace on it. You could put some little flowers, however you want to do it. So anyway, that is the No-Sew Goose dress. So if you would like to purchase this pattern, it's on my website, bythebagco.com. And I would love to see all of your little deskies dressed up. So be sure to tag me on whatever social media you're on. I'm on everything, and I'm at By the Bay Bag Co. on everything. So if you'll tag me, that way I can see what you make for your little goose to wear. Thanks for watching.